I guess Eric's unmuted.
Good morning, all.
Morning.
Morning.
Okay, let's go ahead and get started.
Let's rock.
We've got our brand new beautiful agenda here. We've added in a few new things. So we're just gonna keep morphing it until we find what is working for us.
I like it.
And okay, so we're gonna start off again with our what is Team Limitless, but I added in today what we talked about last time, where we've got these additional words: collaboration, family, comfort, support, responsiveness, attention. So
Those are the contributions from
contributions from last time. I don't know, just something to think about, just so it's top of our mind. You know, these words, I don't know, it gets me pumped up. I don't know if it gets anyone else pumped up, but I love having like the different words just to think about what our team is.
Love it.
And then same thing with our better agent experience. We added in that we also create a better agent experience for each other and also for the industry. If anybody has anything to add to these at all, just jump in. But with that, we will get into our opening thoughts. So last week we ended with the thoughts of the gap and the gain, and kind of told everybody to be thinking a little bit throughout the week of, you know, when they're in the gap, when they're in the gain, and kind of have some stories and things to share.
So just to recap, the gap is where we're in comparison mode. It could be we're comparing ourselves to somebody else, or we're comparing ourselves, as you can see on this chart, to our ideal where we wish we were, or what we wish we had, and so we're not there. So that disconnect of concentrating on what we don't have, or how somebody else is doing something that we're not doing, puts us in a different mindset and a different energy. Where we want to be is looking backwards and see where we've come and give ourselves credit for our progress. Like Kathy was just sharing before some of you jumped on, she's got a closing coming up, and she was sharing, and Kathy, maybe you could just give a summary version of that again, but she's got a closing coming up, but it was a deal that's come and gone a couple of times, and she just kept sticking with it, right? And so she was very appreciative and looking back on how far she came with that transaction. So that's kind of a good example of the gain instead of the troubles and the struggles she had with that transaction. What's up, Dawn?
Yeah, I've had a few of those struggles.
Yeah. Did anybody have anything specific happen this week? As we had talked about the gap and the gain last week, as far as that comparison mode, or more of a confidence builder because you were paying more attention to your gratitude and where you've come from and what you've created and your growth. Ashley's going to call on somebody.
Or I'm just gonna keep talking because I've got something to share.
Yeah, well, go ahead. Maybe while you're thinking about it.
So I had a moment where I was thinking about this during the week when we were actually watching the business planning event with Brent Gove, and there was this part where it wanted you to do like a SWOT analysis and send it to other people. So it's like your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And on my weakness side, I had my husband actually fill it out, and he had put that on one of my weaknesses was setting too high of goals. And Jeff and I had a conversation about that because we're like, we don't know that it's not necessarily setting too high of goals, because I think setting high goals is really great, but it's when you're in that comparison, when you're in the gap, looking at how high of goals you're setting and where you're at and where you want to be. And so that was something that just stood out to me, was that would be foreseen as a weakness by my husband because I'm in the gap when I'm thinking about the goals that I'm setting. So
That you're not there yet.
yeah, that I'm not there yet, and that I'm frustrated that I'm not there yet.
And along those lines, how many of you watched the Rural Workman's business planning clinic? Kathy did. Awesome. Kim did. That was really, really good. I think Ashley's got some stuff to share on that moving forward, but he talked about setting those goals and like doubling your goals and this and that, because when you're striving for something that is it seems out of reach and you don't hit it, you still accomplish more than if you had set a smaller goal and hit it. Because we tend to kind of like set those expectations and, you know, if we hit that goal, we're not working as hard to get beyond it sometimes.
Anybody else have anything to share on that before we move on?
Sorry. Hey guys, sorry, I'm gonna work on this next week and give you an update. How's that? really didn't.
Sounds great.
I didn't have a lot of gap and gain attention this week. Just Michelle and I and family were out of town for a football tournament and we had a bunch of things going on. So if I would have paid closer attention, I could share more. But yeah.
Well, this was the first time we kind of gave homework.
Right. Yeah. And I totally missed it. Sorry.
That's okay. We thought it would be good to have like a little theme. Actually, this week, we're gonna have James share a quote that will be our thing to think about for this week. So
Perfect.
That's coming up later. We got same list as last week. Let's get some people added.
Yeah,
I
I
know
want it to be the same list.
you said you had someone that was filling out the application. To
Yeah,
join.
they haven't, well, they haven't.
But it hasn't come through yet.
No.
So, yeah, but congratulations to everybody that's capped. That is awesome. I want to see that long list up there. Okay, and then we added this in as a market update. One thing that I wanted to talk about with this was just the State of the Union. Was anybody able to join and watch that? It was the same time as the business planning event, so I had to watch the recording. It was really interesting. They gave some really great points because it was pretty much just an update on the lawsuits that are going on. But they had some really great things to say, and I just wrote down a few quotes from like Glenn and Michael. So one thing that Glenn said is that consumers aren't commission sensitive, they're relationship sensitive. And I thought that was really awesome because it just goes to show you just keep working on your relationships and building those relationships, and people aren't going to be affected by, you know, the things that are going on, because they're still going to want to use you because of the relationship you have with them.
Yeah.
And then the other thing he said was that AI will disrupt the industry more than any litigation. And I thought that was super interesting because everyone's so worried about the lawsuits when it's like you could be putting your time and energy towards something that's proactive, such as like maybe implementing some AI in your business.
You know, Kristen, on our state broker meeting, talked a little bit about the, you know, the lawsuits and what's that gonna do? And she says, in Utah, we've already kind of, we adapted before the lawsuit even happened as far as the commissions on our listing agreement, and our talking points changed because we made it to where the seller had to agree and initial on what was going to the buyer's agent. And that's the biggest problem is the sellers were saying, we didn't know we were doing that, right? So it's communication. And I like the way she explained it. It's like now, just like you take your comps about the property, she's showing comps about, well, what other people are doing in regards to offering a buyer's agent commission. She can show sold properties and say, well, here's the commission offered on these properties and they were on the market X amount of days. Here's this a lower commission and they were on the market this many days. So it's just kind of like giving them a little bit more information on what others are doing and then letting them make a decision on what they want the buyer's agent commission to be. So really, I don't really see much changing
Not for
us.
Utah.
Yeah.
Not for Utah.
Well, I like the discount broker, what's the discount broker?
Homie,
Homie.
a lot of them, yeah.
Their buyer side used to be like 1%. I don't think anybody was even biting on it. Their buyers commissions are the
Getting,
same as everybody else.
yeah, yeah,
So that kind of said to me, like, all right, if you want to pay 1%, nobody's gonna look at your house. If you pay 2.5%, 3%, then you're gonna start getting some.
right. What we're really looking for is a win-win and getting the
Yeah.
transaction closed. It doesn't matter if it's 1% or 5%
Yeah.
that the buyer agent is getting, if the seller is netting what they want, and so making it more attractive makes sense.
Yeah. Well, as an agent, I mean, if you got a 1% here and a 3% there, equal house, we're gonna go to 3% side.
Well, your buyer might want to go to the other side too, because if you're saying the buyer has signed a buyer broker agreement with you to pay you 3% and the seller's only offering 1, you're still going to collect 3, then that's got to come as additional closing costs out of the buyer's side, and that may not be doable. So the buyer may say, let's not look at those ones because I only have my down payment, whatever. And so we're going to ask probably in an offer for the seller to up the closing costs anyway.
Right. So it all equals out.
Yep, it does, in my opinion. Does anybody have any thoughts on that? And actually, we can move on.
You know, when I listened to it later, it reminded me of the Homey situation when Homey came to Utah, and everyone was worried about what it would do to the industry and how different, you know, things could be, because we have such a massive discount brokerage that's advertising everywhere. And I like what you said, Jeff, like a couple years ago. It's like there's, you know, 10% of the consumers out there are looking for the cheapest, least expensive dollar meal everywhere they go. And then there's other people that just want to be treated, you know, 10% want to have the most luxurious experience possible. But the 80% in the middle, that's really kind of where our target market is.
Mhm.
It kind of reminded me a little bit of that, where everyone's looking at this lawsuit and saying, oh, what's going to happen? How are we going to manage this? Are we going to be able to stay in business? Are we going to be able to compete? How's it going to, you know, affect everyone? And it kind of reminded me of that Homey situation. Now you look back and you realize that it wasn't a big deal at all. And we just adjust, and you kind of forget it's even there and work around it and do your business as normal. So that was kind of my thought, was people are making it a bigger deal than what it really is if you're doing your job right and explaining everything correctly to your clients, and they really understand what your service is and what you're providing.
That's the key point right there, Eric, is getting better at communicating with your clients. I think it was skipped over by so many agents. You know, they just talked about the listing side of the commission, and they never really talked about the buyer side. So it's just a little bit more responsibility on our part to educate our sellers on how that's really being dispersed, and it can still be a great experience for both sides. I don't really see it being a problem.
No, and I think since Utah's already addressed it, there's not really anything that we have to change on our end, but for other states, EXP did say that they're coming out with a buyer exclusive like form for people to use in states that don't have something already that will address the commission issue. Oh, my clicker's not working. There we go. Okay, so now we'll go on to buyer needs, new listings, open house opportunities. I know Jeff's got a buyer that he's working with. Yeah.
Mhm.
What's the need? What are the needs?
I wanted somebody else to go first, but
Okay.
yeah, I've got a client that's looking for under 400,000, single family or a townhome, because they don't want anybody living above them, you know, in a condo situation. And a lot of times that's the affordable property. Under 400 is a condo, but I'm looking for a single family home or a townhome under 400 in Salt Lake County.
We got something for you, Jeff.
Nice.
So I assume part of the reason they want to be closer to that 400,000 is because of interest rates. But I was actually going to bring this up anyway, but Edge Homes has a promotion right now. I don't know if you've heard about it, but they purchased money kind of like you first did, you know, last year. So right now they're offering 5.99% financing, as long as if it's with First Colony Mortgage and it's a primary residence. I think they have 53 properties as of Thursday or Friday that they can do, and they're single family townhome, Salt Lake County, Utah County as well. But what a tremendous opportunity for, you know, for buyers to get in. I know that the townhomes, you probably get in around 460 in Harriman, but they also have less expensive areas. That's just where I've been working with a couple buyers. So, you know, if you had a different location, you might be able to get closer to that 450, 440, who knows? And with the lower rates, it might get them to where they need to be. I think it's a
Awesome.
tremendous opportunity to be at a lower rate and get a new home that has a warranty. And obviously those townhomes are 3 levels in Harriman. It's got a full basement too. So you don't have anybody below or above you.
Yeah, no, that's definitely an option. Thanks for reminding me about that. I got a text from Janine at Edge Homes, I think last week, mentioning that.
Yeah.
Okay. I need a 5 acre piece in Twilla Rush Valley area where a guy can put excavation equipment.
Ooh. Did you guys hear that?
Like industrial type.
Well, he wants to build on it eventually, but the problem we're having is I had him under contract twice now, and you can't leave equipment or anything, so
Hmm,
it needs to be where you can put dump trucks and mini, or not mini X, but a
right,
track hoe and
it's
stuff like that.
equipment. 5 acres around Twilla or somewhere out
Rush
west.
Valley, just
anywhere.
somewhere out of it. You don't really want to go south, because I looked some down south, and you really don't want to go south, but
Right,
out in that west desert area.
Anybody else?
Well, I got a guy in Florida looking for a condo that wants something dirt cheap in the ski area, but. I
Lynn's
keep
got
giving him
one.
stuff, he said, wait for the market to bottom out, I said, well, just offer what you think it would be when it bottoms out.
hmm,
Lynn's got one at 290 that's in Murray, but it's like right by the freeway.
He's looking around 6, 7, 800,000,
Okay,
he's a cash buyer.
nice.
Funny thing is, he says, interest rates, I said, you're a cash buyer.
Doesn't matter.
Interest
Yeah.
rates.
doesn't matter.
I get that,
So 600,000 to 700,000, close to a ski.
the big little cotton canyon. I've showed him a couple up there just on the internet. It's supposed to come out the next month or so.
Cool, cool.
Are we going on to listings too, or are you gonna go in order?
Yeah, no, just
Yep, anything.
anything.
Anything on
Okay.
that?
Okay, awesome. We have, once again, our Clearfield listing is listed at 465, currently has 5 bedrooms, 2 full bath. Vacant, very easy to show. And then we do have a new listing coming up in East Layton. It's gonna be about 525 and it's 6 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms.
Nice.
That's big. How many square feet is that?
27, 28,
Small.
Yeah.
2800. Yeah, it's got 3 bedrooms up and 3 down. Anyway, it's in a really nice neighborhood, a little bit older neighborhood, 1985. And it's got good curb appeal. Anyway, supposedly a lot of neighbors are interested in it, but we're listing it anyway. I am gonna kind of share with Jay, if you were on team meeting, you heard James share this already. But I'm gonna share it kind of as with this listing and as a win. But James hosted an open house for one of our clients here in Clearfield a couple months ago. Was it August, James? I think so.
Yes.
Yeah, back in August, and this couple came through that open house, and James made an impression on them. They really actually wanted that condo, and it's actually a divorce situation. And the wife was looking at this condo, and she really wanted to buy it, but didn't put in an offer. They weren't quite ready yet. She wasn't ready, and so anyway, they called us on Tuesday, I believe, and said that they, or it was Wednesday, that's what it was, Wednesday, said that they had been watching us for a few months and wanted to, they wanted us to possibly list their home. And anyway, so James and I ran over there because we were going out of town, and we just had a great conversation with them both. And what's interesting is they just said that we were watching that listing. You never changed the price. You didn't budge. And we really respected that. And we knew that you were fighting for your clients. And so anyway, they were interviewing multiple agents, and we just made a great connection with them that night. And they went 4 or 5 days, let us know that they would reach out, and they did, and they decided to hire us. And so I just thought that was interesting. I think the point that James was mentioning to me earlier is that we are building relationships before we even realize it sometimes. And so he made that connection, and the fact that they were watching that listing and just kind of seeing how we handled it without us even knowing, I think is really interesting and kind of eye-opening. So really cool.
Awesome.
Nice job.
Do you want to add something? I know you do.
Sure. I think one thing as far as like the gap in the gain, because multiple times in that conversation, they're like, yeah, you guys have been on our mind for like the past couple months. So these guys have been thinking about us for 5 months now. And I think what Shanna didn't mention is that it's a divorce situation, but the husband, or he's an ex-husband, either, what it is what it is. But so that's probably going to turn into a buying opportunity for us, which will be good. But as far as like the gap in the gain, when Shayna left, I was like, you know what? I think we're the favorites compared to the Fool. If you've read Chris Voss's book, Full Fee Agent, just the way the conversation went, and we felt really good. And I actually just felt grateful for the conversation and that she reached out. And it was just another reminder that like open houses are great opportunities, whether it's immediately or down the road or just interacting. It was great to have them reach out to us, and that we did a good job. We felt good about it. And Shannon and I were talking about it. We're like, we're just glad we had a good conversation with them, that whoever they go to list their home with, we're just happy for that. So I think that kind of goes along with the gap in the gain. We weren't in a lack mindset or anything. We're just grateful for that opportunity presented, and now we're gonna do what we do as far as listing their home and everything. So it was a cool experience.
That's awesome. That's nice to get that feedback too, that they actually shared that with you. We don't always get that insight of their thoughts in the process. They're just, focused on getting their home or whatever, but that's great that they shared that with you.
What an awesome story. Great job, guys. That is a great example. Listings have babies, right? That's what I've heard before somewhere.
I like that. Lynn's got 4 open house opportunities. She's got one in Draper, Sandy, Payson, Pleasant Grove. So if anybody's wanting to do open houses, she's got stuff to do them on. How did your open house go on? Yeah. Didn't sell it, but it went well. Yeah.
I think, I just was meeting with Lynn, I think we got one person who's pretty interested, but he had an agent. That's what he said.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got a couple of pretty good contacts.
Nice.
One lady's gonna be gone for a couple of months. Yeah. Went good. Nice people. I had 7 people.
Nice. That's awesome. Okay, shall we move on?
I'm trying to figure this out. See if
Is it
that's
shared?
working.
Well, this isn't.
It's not, that's frozen. What's going on with that?
Are you guys seeing our
I shared
slides?
this screen. That
Yeah.
was
I was gonna share something else while you're getting that figured out too, but we had we sold a house at the beginning of the year that they were 3 adults, children who were selling their parents' home, and they had to put their parents into a home. And just the other day, the mom had passed away, and one of them just reached out to me and just thanked me for everything. And for, even though it's almost been a year, they just said, we're just so glad we did it when we did. And it was just a very peaceful experience for them to not have to worry about the house. So That was cool too.
That's awesome.
Good stories.
Good experiences.
Okay, moving on to like our wins and challenges for the week. One win that Jeff and I had is that we did hop on the business planning event with Burl Workman, and we got a ton out of that training.
It was really good.
Yeah, it was awesome. And one thing I forgot to mention too with the State of the Union as well. So with the State of the Union and then with this business planning event in the Facebook group, within the comments of the post that I had made, I put the links to watch the replays. So if anyone wants to watch the replays, the links are just right in the Facebook group. Nice and easy to get
Thank
to.
you. Thank you.
Mhm.
I don't know where my mouse is.
Oh,
My computer is like giving me the big middle finger
Jeff
right
and I
now.
also hit like quite a few time blocks last week, which is something
Yeah.
we've been setting up our time blocks, but then like scheduling appointments during them, and we finally hit some, and we made some phone calls and made some progress, and
Feels good,
it
huh?
was awesome. Yeah, we do 5 high fives a day.
Hey, and if it doesn't sting, it doesn't count.
He's mean.
I don't know where my videos are.
I don't know, I can't.
So,
I can't see you guys.
one win I'll bring up is, seller financing is getting a little bit more common or popular these days, right? In my day, when I was investing, it was pretty much common knowledge that, if you wanted terms like that, you had to pay more than what they could get at, what you could get at a bank. So if like interest rates were 7%, you would offer the seller 8%, right? Now it's a little bit shifted because interest rates were so low, they're gone up. People see seller finance as an opportunity to save on the interest rates. To me, it's a little bit backwards because the seller has to have some sort of a premium to participate in that. Or it's just a win-win, right? But I mean, typically, if he's going to be the bank, why would he accept lower than what that person could go borrow money for from an institution? So for example, they put an offer on a property with 5.5% seller financing, which they couldn't even go and get that on land as well. So they're putting 20% down, but 5.5% interest rate. My seller wasn't even considering seller financing, but as we talked about it, because it came over, it wasn't just a phone call, to where, and this is kind of my tip. If you send something in writing, now the seller is looking at it a little bit different than if you just get on the phone. Hey, somebody called and asked if you'd be interested in X. That's not enough for them to really apply it to their situation and kind of see if it would work. So because it came in writing, I sent it to him and had him look it over and talk to his wife before I called him. He all of a sudden was open to at least discuss it. So anyway, we counteroffered, so it'll be interesting how they respond today, but we counteroffered and raised the interest rate up to 7.5%. We made it interest only, and we did some creative things in there that I think we're going to be able to put it together that'll make it a win-win. But anyway, if that was kind of nice to see some activity on a property that hasn't got anything in 2 months.
Yeah.
So if anybody has any properties that are sitting and they want to offer seller financing, if you want to have a conversation with me or Eric, we've done a ton of it, kind of see how that plays out. And if you get an offer, for sure, we can help collaborate with you on how to respond to that seller finance as a counter offer. So I'll let you know how ours goes.
I have a question. So with the seller financing, I had a conversation recently with Alan about that, and he is, as a lender, which, okay, I know this sounds really bad now that I'm saying that, but he's a cool dude. You guys met him. He was saying that seller financing, he would not recommend to anybody at this moment because AI technology is picking up on it, and they're activating the due on sale clause. Have you heard that? Do you feel like that's an issue and a risk for your sellers in offering seller financing?
So our broker actually mentioned that in a meeting, that's what's happening, is that it's getting flagged as due on clause. So she's saying don't do them right now is what the broker was saying.
Yeah, and I don't have any experience with it, so I just wanted to bring it up that that's what I've heard. And, you know, because I've had a couple sellers who had talked about it, And then we kind of brought up some of those risks of the due on sale with the current market. And they were like, no, we don't want to do it. So
Interesting. And well, just a side note on the one I'm telling you about, my seller doesn't have a loan on it, so it's a non-issue on that one. But my first thought as you mentioned that, and maybe Eric's thinking the same thing, is you potentially could do a lease option. Lease options and seller financings are essentially, you could negotiate the same terms. It's just different paperwork. And of course, ownership doesn't transfer at the settlement. If they're doing a lease, they have the option to buy it. So it's a unilateral contract. The buyer has the right to exercise the option, but they don't have to. So it might be worth having a conversation to do something like that.
So on the lease option, down payment, like, what do you suggest?
Whatever works, like on my seller financing offer, they're putting 20% down, whatever makes your seller secure.
So usually seller financing, I'd say 20% down, you know, that way if they back, but on lease option, you still want 20% down.
Depends on the situation. It could be 5%, whatever makes them feel secure, right? 5%, 10%, whatever. The one I'm working on is 20% down. On a seller financing, you're actually giving them the deed to the property. So one thing I like to do is allow for what happens if they don't make their payments and they don't have their balloon on the call or whatever, then we have to foreclose on them, right? So I like to set up escrow to where I can circumvent that process. So part of my counter offer was to have that seller sign a deed in lieu of foreclosure to be held by the escrow company, with instructions that if they're ever 2 months behind, 60 days behind, or they miss their payment date where all the principal is due, that the instructions signed by them are to release that deed to my client, so I don't have to go through a lengthy foreclosure process or whatever.
That's how mine's set up.
Yeah, so yeah, but as far as the down payment, everything's negotiable. The payment, the down payment and everything just has to make your client feel secure enough that where if they don't do it, it was worth their time and effort. I don't know where your videos are.
My videos.
Nice
Oh,
big
where
cameras.
people are,
Yeah.
yeah. They could all be off for all we know.
It just disappeared. You guys are still there, right?
Oh, we're talking.
I could pull it.
Seriously, I have no videos.
Still here.
Oh, they're still there, yay.
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm not here anymore.
Okay, Kathy's not here. That's
So-
weird.
Haley has a question in
kidding.
the chat if you guys didn't notice.
Oh, yeah, there's a,
Hmm.
Kylie,
No, so
sorry.
concerned I couldn't see anybody. Kaylee, how sub two set up, does the deed transfer? Yeah, so subject to, that's exactly what we were talking about, subject to an existing loan on the property. So when you're doing seller finance, if it's a true seller financing, you're actually selling the property, subject to the underlying financing. It's also called a wraparound mortgage, secured by an all-inclusive trust deed because it includes underlying financing. What they were sharing, though, that I didn't really hear the conversation about the AI flagging deed transfers on existing loans. So that makes a lot of sense with the technology now, knowing that the deed transferred, but there was no payoff associated with that. That could really become a thing. So you got to have a backup plan if you're going to do a subject to or seller financing like that. But yes, Kaylee, typically the deed is going to transfer on a seller financing. The seller retains the title and the deed to the property on a lease option.
So, does FHA loans do that?
FHA loans are even a little bit more difficult because title companies won't do them. You have to do those with an attorney because they can lose their ability to actually finance, or I mean, close FHA loans because of FHA guidelines and the due on sale clause. So that's been that way for a long time. A conventional loan, like my title company, will do it. If it's FHA, they won't touch it.
VA?
No, VA or FHA, they won't wrap. An attorney will though. So like sometimes there's attorneys that own title companies and they'll close it as an attorney, but not as a title company. Kind of weird.
Can you guys hear me? I'm on the bike at the
Yes.
gym.
we can hear you.
Okay, so I think what's really cool is that sometimes we want to offer seller finance, but we have like this person in the way, like the agent. The seller's agent is in our way. And I originally offered seller finance, and she's like, no, they're not interested. But then I sent this email and made a phone call to her with just some questions, like, because this house had been sitting on the market and I wanted to know, just curiously and compassionately, and relationship building way, do they owe anything? Are they worried about a tax burden? Would they want all the money up front, or would they like it in installments? What do they need, you know? And for like 2 months, she's like, no, they're not interested. And then I would call her back and be like, did you have a conversation with them? No, they just won't be interested. Well, finally, she's like, so I talked to them. They answered all your questions and they'd be willing to do it at this and this and this and this. I'm like, thank you. And so a lot of times it's just massaging that relationship of agent to agent and then getting to the pain point. And then they would be actually open to it. It is just about finding that win-win, but sometimes the agent's actually in the way, but don't let it stop you, you know, keep massaging it until they say like, stop, you know, whatever, like they're bothering me, but it is possible.
I found that as well, Kaylee. If they don't understand it themselves, they don't want to look bad. They don't even know how to have the conversation with their client sometimes if they've never done it before and they don't understand it. So they say no without even really presenting it. So another way to get the conversation started is actually submit something in writing. Submit something in writing that they, you know, they're obligated to present to their client to open that conversation, and then offer maybe if they want to get on a three-way call or on a Zoom to kind of talk it out together. But if you put it in writing, it sounds like from your experience with this other agent, when she finally did present and have a conversation with her client, then it opened the door to have a further discussion. But she probably didn't even bring it up, but your persistence, you know, got to the point where she finally brought it up to her client.
I feel like that's
Yeah, I like that idea of actually submitting something. I didn't think about that because I didn't call you, you know, I was trying to do it all alone, but yeah, I really like that.
Submit it in writing, make a nice cover letter on your email explaining everything, as detailed as possible, especially if you're getting the sense that they really have never done it before and they don't know what they're doing. And just having those conversations. That was really smart of you to keep having conversations with her, but just ask them, have you ever done anything like this before, and offer your experience to them. And they'll probably be more apt to do it.
I think that's a great agent attraction point right there also, is to continue those relationships, provide education where you may see or perceive there's like a deficit, and then just be you, because they didn't want to ruin that relation. The seller didn't want to ruin that relationship they had built, but at the same time, you can provide value to them and build a relationship with that agent, which they will probably find memorable.
Love it.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Come across as more of like, how can we collaborate on this and work together to make this deal work? Versus you know, here's my buyer's offer, good luck. It's, you know.
Well, especially the house has been sitting for 3, 4, 5, 6
Yeah.
months. Yep. You know, you need to try to do something,
Yeah.
even if it's wrong.
Does anyone else have any other wins or challenges they want to talk about before we move on?
Since you guys can hear me, I'm going to talk. I do have another win. So I'm like an investor agent, and I put in way too many offers a week all the time for myself and for clients. And sometimes they're borderline offensive. They're just low. And but in those initial conversations, sometimes they're just verbal offers to start. So we don't waste our time. Sometimes they're actually written right away. But I had made this verbal offer for this house that was in a trust and vacant in Wellsville, and it was a no. It was like a hard no. Like, and no. But like 4 weeks later, I get a call from her. He says, our seller is ill. He's in the hospital. He's on painkillers and we need to sell this house. And she's like, I got so many offers right at your same price point. But she, for whatever reason, she's like, she called me. And so even when we're making offensive offers at times, you can still have like such a great relationship building phone conversation or emails back and forth. Just, it's about relationships, I guess. And so I don't know why she called me, but yeah, we ended up buying the house. And that was one I didn't even follow up with, you know, she just remembered that initial conversation.
That's awesome. I know that we have that happen from time to time too. It's because you just treat them, you know, like a person and not an adversary, and communicate with them and make it a good, pleasant experience for both of you.
And I love James's point too, like think of it as agent attraction as you're talking with those other agents. Even if they don't accept your offer, you can create a relationship with them.
Just offering them that value of their experience.
It's a good perspective. Okay, let's move on. Keep on our agenda. Oh, my clicker's not working. Jeff keeps fiddling around with it.
Nothing's working. I can't even see my freaking cursor on my mouse. I don't know what's going on.
Actually, every week.
Yeah, well,
You're shutting down.
There.
yeah, we
There's
just,
your next slide.
yeah, our next slide. We just want to do a quick recap on our training that we had on Wednesday. If anybody's got any takeaways that they want to share. I thought Alan did an amazing job going through how to create an elevator pitch, and we actually had like a little workshop where we actually wrote down some information. And I know one thing James actually brought up after was that he would kind of like to get together with some people, maybe mastermind, because one thing that we learned is that a lot of times people have better ideas for you than you have for yourself. And to give advice on like, okay, well, you know, this is what I see in Jeff as being his strengths that would be great in his elevator pitch. So if anybody's interested in not putting something together, but I'll put it together, but let me know who would like to, and then I can put something together to where we can just mastermind. Don says yes.
Well, really, I got another copy of these forms, like,
Nice, yeah.
I really want to do that.
I think it's
'Cause
important.
I just think, I'm a realtor.
Yeah,
I
it just kills the
it
conversation.
does, really.
He did a really good presentation and had a great handout. Is the handout in the Team Lemons Facebook group?
I don't know, if not, I'll put it in
We'll
there.
get the handout up there. Yep. He had a couple of sheets there, yeah. But spending the time thinking about it.
I've been doing.
Yeah, it's
I come up with
different.
a good sentence and I put it in my notes and I just gotta put everything together.
Nice, nice. And the week after Thanksgiving, so next week, because we don't have a Wednesday training this week.
Yeah,
right?
so we've got.
So the
do you
next
wanna
week
move
is
on?
actually Jeff Bitten with Pitch 59 is gonna come in, so they really coincided really well together. So if you don't know about this tool, I know Kim has one, Eric has one, Shayna's getting one, Ashley's got one.
Shane got one.
Shayna's done hers,
Yeah.
awesome. Even Alan's gonna now get one. It's just a great tool to start those conversations, but it really is a good because of what Alan taught about too, is like you have to come up with what to say, your elevator pitch, and be concise and be very purposeful in it. So that's going to be next Wednesday. The day after, and we don't have a slide for this, or I was just talking to Ashley about it. The day after, my videographer that's done some events and different things for me is going to come into my office, and we'll send out a form if you're interested in having some help from his name's Trayson to video you doing your pitch and help you edit it and make it look good for your Pitch 59 pitch card. Then we're going to do that on Thursday.
You know what, so maybe it would be nice if, for those of you that want to get together and like brainstorm on creating your pitch, maybe we do that earlier, or just before that training, before the Pitch 59 training, and then the recordings that's happening on Friday, so that we can brainstorm and have that ready to go.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I think we should have that done. Then we can practice that at all those fun Christmas parties we're going to be invited to.
Oh yeah, good idea. Yeah,
Sweet.
I like that. Okay, so I can't see anybody.
I know,
If you could-
all my videos are gone. Dawn's
See
here,
Dawn.
live and in person.
But if you-
If my camera's working.
If you guys are interested in doing the, where we mastermind about our pitches, will you just message in the chat so that I know who to reach out to get that scheduled? Cause we might even want to do that before Thanksgiving, because that's a great idea to practice using it. Well, to practice using it.
Thanksgiving's Thursday.
Yeah, you know. What, we can't, no? It depends on who's. doing it.
Yeah.
Well, I thought James' idea of using it on the people that like you're gonna be meeting up with and stuff is a great idea.
My own kids. No, that'd be all right.
Okay, never mind.
No, you-
Stupid idea.
no, it's not.
Okay, anybody else have anything they wanted to say about Alan's training? Or about the trainings coming up? It's super weird not being able to see everything. Feels like I'm just,
I'm going out of town and it doesn't sound like it's gonna work for me to be able to do the recording, but I need to do that because I need help with my pitch 59. So I might need to set up something at another time.
And we could do that. Reach out to me. Trayson and I are gonna try and work together just to make it easier for the people that even just that I'm sharing it with to help ensure that they get it done. Cause I've got different vendors and professionals that have a card, but they haven't done their profile yet. They haven't done their video yet. I can't share it yet. So I'm still even making introductions to them
yeah.
up to this point, the old fashioned way. And I want them to, so I want to try and create that experience to help them just get it completed, and then take that burden off of them. So we might be doing something on a regular basis with Trayson. So he can give us some discounts. If he can get at least, 2 or 3 people instead of a onesie, then he can give a discount on creating and editing those videos.
Okay, cool.
that would be fun.
Mhm.
All right, and you're clicking and it won't let me do. Interested. Okay, then our upcoming trainings, we've got our on the 6th of December, we're into December already, which is crazy.
Holy crap.
New Year's coming, but we've got our overview, so invite to that. We've got another referral type training coming up by Josh Cavalier, build a referral based business, which is going to be a good one. He's got a lot of good tips, and I like also that he says he's got a systematized process on how to build a referral based business. I like that. And then I'm going to be doing one on the 20th, the anxious agent. That's me. And then we got Christmas, and then actually Sydney's coming in. So you get the sisters.
January.
Sid's coming in January. We've got a few more scheduled, but they're just not up here. And then there's a few more events that I wanted to mention. So for those of you in Utah, Kristen was mentioning on her training today that she's doing a jingle and mingle in Riverton on December 7th. So if you need info for that, I'll post that in the Team Limitless Facebook
I'm
group.
sure it's in the Utah State.
Yeah, it's
newsletter
probably
to
in
search
the,
it,
yeah, maybe just look at that. And then another thing we wanted to bring up is that we're all on Gene Frederick's downline. He does the 1st and 3rd Monday of every month. He does some call called Gene's Generals. And is that just an agent attraction?
It's an on agent attraction.
It's an agent attraction, and that's from that starts at 1 p.m. Mountain Time. So Jeff and I are going to start hopping on that. So there's actually one today at 1 p.m. We're going to join in on that if anybody else wants to join. Just shoot me a text or something and I can send you the link to hop on.
Okay, thanks.
And what else we got? Oh, and then I copied this from our newsletter, the Utah newsletter, just like a little Q3 announcement on how EXP is doing. I thought it was interesting and I like to see the numbers. And so I wanted to share that with you guys. And just a reminder, keep looking in the Facebook group. And what else we got? Oh, now we got parting thoughts by James.
All right. So I don't know if anybody can see this, but this is the book. Maybe I'll put something on the Facebook page later, but it's called The Law of Attraction. And if you look on Amazon, there's a whole lot of them, but this is the original from, I don't know, back in the day. But I just wanted to, I'll read 3 paragraphs that kind of go along with this quote. It says, in a recent conversation, I was telling a woman to pluck up courage and to reach out for a certain good thing for which she had been longing for many years, and which at last appeared to be in sight. I told her that it looked as if her desire was about to be gratified, that the law of attraction was bringing it to her. She lacked faith and kept on repeating, oh, it's too good to be true. It's too good for me. She had not emerged from the stage of feeling unworthy, and although she was in sight of the promised land, she refused to enter into it because it was too good for her. I think I succeeded in putting sufficient confidence into her to enable her to claim her own, for the last report I heard of her is that she is accepting her success. I want to call your attention to the fact that nothing is too good for you. No matter how great the things may be, no matter how undeserving you may mistakenly believe yourself to be, you are entitled to the best there is. So don't be afraid to ask, demand, and take. The good things of the world are not the portion of any favored few. They belong to all, but they tend to come only to those who are wise enough to recognize that they deserve the good things and who are sufficiently courageous to reach out to receive them. Many good things are lost for want of the asking. Many splendid things are lost to you because of your feeling that you are unworthy of them. Many great things are lost to you because you lack the confidence and courage to demand and take possession of them. None but the brave deserves the fair, says the old adage, and the rule is true in all lines of human effort. If you keep on repeating that you are unworthy of the good thing, that it is too good for you, the law of attraction will be apt to take you at your word and believe what you say. That's a peculiar thing about the law of attraction. It believes what you say. It takes you seriously. So beware what you say to it, for it will be apt to give credence. Say to it that you are worthy of the best there is, and there is nothing too good for you. And you will be likely to have the law of attraction take you seriously and say, I guess this person is right. I'm going to give them what they want. They know their rights, and what's the use of trying to deny it to him? But if you say, oh, it's too good for me, the law of attraction will probably say, well, I guess that is so. Surely this person ought to know, and it isn't for me to contradict them. And so it goes. So the whole book is good. I just like that little part that it's basically get out of your own head. I mean, we're all the same. If you like break it down to a DNA level or whatever, we're all made of the same things. We could go from one spectrum to like Elon Musk sort of thing to, I don't know, we'll just say Hitler or whatever. That spectrum of possibilities is within each of us. So put the thoughts out there and attract the things that you want. You're worthy of it. You can absolutely get it. And the person that's preventing you from doing that is right up here in your own head. So I would say start with gratitude and envision yourself being grateful for those things that you're envisioning and grateful for where you are now. And then you'll start manifesting those things. And I didn't plan on sharing this, but I'll hurry and take one more minute. So Naya completely did this and she didn't even know it. So she found out like in July that Taylor Swift was going to London. And so in August, she wrote this down on a piece of paper and submitted it in seminary or whatever, which I guess they talk about Taylor Swift in seminaries now, but anyway, so she wrote that down and then, she's doing her thing. And then all of a sudden she gets an email and she's been waitlisted for Taylor Swift tickets for like 8 different concerts. Then she gets an email saying she's not on the wait list anymore. And this just happens to be for the London tour. So she wakes up early, hops on Shane's computer, does her thing, waiting for it. So she's in line and she can actually buy tickets. So she's able to buy 4 tickets and they were like cheap. They were like $900 total. they just happen to be in London, so we'll figure that stuff out. But but the thing is, she did that, and Shannon got some funny video of that. But that was just like a perfect thing for me, the law of attraction and manifesting. And so we had the kids reluctantly sit down at the kitchen table last night, and Shannon and I were asking Naya these questions to teach about it. And the funny thing is, Shannon was talking with Naya about it, and Naya's like just pointed out this manifesting part, and Naya's like, that was so easy. So you just gotta believe. And Naya knew she deserved those tickets. She probably deserves to go to every single concert, and it just happened to do that. So now with our kids, we're trying to create an awareness of that you can do that and that feel worthy of it. And you just go get whatever the hell you want from the world. So, because it's going to believe you. The end.
I just have to add what Naya actually said was, and me asking these questions, and then she goes, "It works." Like she said, it works. And I just thought that was so beautiful. So thank you for sharing that, James. And isn't he like a motivational speaker now? Like seriously, you're amazing, James.
Yeah.
Right.
My voice is going to come back because I did some more singing.
You even got out there in big team meeting in Utah today. That was pretty awesome. And that was really motivational. In the whole manifesting thing is when you're in conversations with people and you hear people say things that are derogatory about themselves or what they can accomplish or where they are in their life. It's that reminder of, well, yeah, because you keep putting it out there. Keep saying, I'm not busy. Well, so you're not busy. Sometimes I'll say, I remember there was a time where I was saying, just the craziest things keep happening to me. And guess what kept happening to me? More crazy things until I figured it out and stopped talking about it.
What great lessons for your kids too. And now they actually have, I guess, proof, right? She's like, I did this and this happened. She can apply that now, and so can your other kids, to all aspects of life. We are really being pulled towards our intentions and what we set for ourselves. A lot of people look back and if they're not where they want to be, and they're blaming their past, but they need to change their mindset so they can be pulled to the future. Like James said, be attracted to that future that they've set for themselves. If you don't have the courage to do that, then it's likely not to happen for you. But if you can just envision the potentiality of what you want for yourself, things just align. So what's on this topic, James? So what's our homework to think about for this next week, so we can start off next team meeting talking about this again?
Yeah, it's good. So the first thing that comes to my mind is be aware of what thoughts are coming into your mind. I think that's the first one. We'll focus on that for a week as far as being aware. And so what I would challenge each of you to do is take a screenshot of this and start your day by reading this little quote. And then throughout the day, if you notice yourself with specific thoughts, just kind of make a mental note. And then at the end of the week or whatever, tally to see if those positive thoughts have now start out to number, or if you're already thinking positive thoughts. I would think bigger positive thoughts, kind of similar to like setting the goals. But I think starting with an awareness is a good thing.
I love that.
I love that a lot. And we're gonna start doing this every week where we choose a new person. We'll reach out to you beforehand and have you just pick a topic like James just did. And so we'll have one person. So next week, James will start us off talking about the law of attraction again. And then next week we'll have someone else end with a quote or something that they want to talk about. So I love it. I love having additional input. And
well, I like the awareness part too,
Yeah.
James, because it goes both ways, being aware of our negative thoughts and our positive thoughts, and you can't have both at the same time. So if you find yourself in the negative mindset, be proactive about changing it, because then you can focus on what you want to be focusing on instead of just what is coming at you We don't want to be reactive, right? We want to be purposeful. And so replace that negative thought with something positive and make it go away, make that exchange.
Yeah, and I think as we share these things, like awareness is important, but as people share what they've learned or what things they're attracting, that's going to give other people either on this call or who watch it later, they're like, oh, it's going to help flip the switch in their brain that they deserve these things, and like, oh, I think I'm going to try that. So it just as a group, it's so collaborative. It's just not an individual, but we're going to give other people belief in themselves essentially, and they're going to test it, and that's going to work, and then they're going to just impact other people. So
James, what was the name of the book you were referring to? What was I missed that? I had a call come in from my husband. So
you're good. It's called The Law of Attraction.
Oh, that's the name of the book, what the screen says?
Yeah, let me tell you, let me type in the author's name. I'm on my phone, so give me a second, because there's everyone in the world is the best-selling author on Amazon with a book called The Law of Attraction. So you want to.
So you're putting that in the chat?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll put the author's name in there. Okay, there it is.
William Walker.
Yeah.
Walker Atkinson.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, it's really good, and it's really not that long. I guess I'm going to be under pressure to finish the book. I guess I got like one chapter I could do that, but yeah, it's good.
Okay, thank you for that.
Mm-hmm. And I can put an Amazon link in the Team Limitless thing, so it's a little bit easier too. So I'll do that now.
Okay, I have Amazon too, and even the Audible. I paid monthly for the Audible thing too. So
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the invite. That was fun. I will say our next thing to so the Taylor Swift concert's in August, so we have, I don't know, 9 months or something like that. My plan is to create like a little vision board, and I'll have the kids put one thing that they want to do there, and we're gonna look at that every day to help them kind of get in the right mindset of that, just so they can be an active participant, and it's not just Naya's thing. But that's my idea.
And how old are your two kids? How old are your kids? I'm just curious.
We have a plethora of kids. They're 16, 14, 12, and 11.
16, 14, 12, and 11.
Yeah.
And you only got 4 tickets?
Oh, that's as many as the website would let us buy. We're just going to manifest those other ones. It's not going to be a problem.
Oh, so 16, 14, 12, and 11?
Yeah.
Wow. Cool. Okay. And what was the age of was it the oldest one that got these tickets?
Yeah. She's the Taylor Swift fan and has a following and all that and other fun stuff. So.
Well, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Awesome, guys. That was a great team meeting. Love it. So, I mean, anybody else have anything else to add before we just wrap up? We've got our agent attraction next for those of you that want to stay on.
I just wanted to add one more thing to our conversation at the beginning of this meeting. Another win for me was also that I'm still under mentorship, and my mentor, Michael Ford, when January or November 3rd came along and I had to write up this offer for my client. Luckily, it's the same client that I had back in October, so I was he couldn't help me. He got COVID and he was very, very sick with it. So I had to do all of the paperwork, all of the questions that I just kind of used the last offer that we had made on a previous house that they had terminated as a guide. And I did that, all the paperwork all by myself. So I was pretty proud of that. Putting it into SkySlope, I had to remember all of those steps again. And this was my second transaction towards my mentorship 3 that I have to have. So if anybody has anybody coming to Spokane or anything to buy a house, send them my way so I can get out of this mentorship program, because especially with it being relocation as well, corporate relocation, 48% relocation fee. and then 20% my split with EXP, and then 20% to the mentor and the mentorship program. So I'm getting like only like pennies on the dollar for commission for this. So I want to get out of this program so I can just have the money myself now. So anyway,
Nice.
I just wanted to say that that was another pretty proud moment too, that I was able to do that, an accomplishment. And I also found an error on there was a $3,000 error on the closing cost estimate too, that the lender had put on there and there was no survey requested at all, required. And there was a $3,000 extra fee on there. That's something else I caught just a couple days ago on this transaction that needed to be taken care of and taken off of the closing costs. So for my buyer. So anyway, so just being detail oriented that I am and so forth. So this is probably a really good win for me. Lessons learned on this one. So anyway,
Congratulations.
just wanted to
That's
toot my own
awesome.
horn a little bit there. So it's pretty cool.
That's great. So take James' advice and just attract that third transaction.
Yep, trying to. Okay.
There's no trying, you will do it.
Oh, I love it. Okay, so.
Great job, Kathy.
Oh, go ahead, Eric.
Congrats. Oh, no, I just saying congrats. Great job. Get it done.
Awesome. We're gonna move on to our agent attraction portion. I went ahead and if anybody's got any corrections to anything that I wrote up, go ahead and let me know. But I went ahead and wrote down some of the goals that people had said last time for our agent attraction. And that's my contribution for this. Eric, do you have anything else?
No, not on that. Yeah, we can jump into it if you're ready.
Yeah, if anybody has anything to add on the goals or wants to add something else to their goals, let me know, and I'm gonna just keep track of it so we can keep each other accountable.
So I'll start since I'm at the front of the list. I did not do that. So I got to recommit right now that is going to be my goal. The one thing that I did do is I jumped into one of the sites that I'm in and gathered a bunch of emails. So I have a bunch of people to reach out to. I just haven't done it yet. So.
Kim, I gotta say, good for you for being on and saying I didn't do it and being accountable, because I would never ever want somebody not to jump on because they didn't hit their goals and feel like, oh, I didn't make my goals. I'm gonna skip the meeting, so I don't have to tell everyone I didn't do my goals. So good job for getting on and just sharing that, because that's what this is all about, is just keeping our goals accountable and keeping in front of us so we can keep moving forward and working towards it. And top of mind is so important, right? So if we talk about it and we make these goals every week, we're going to make more progress because it's in front of us and it's top of mind. So
Funny little thing about that too, is I had to make a conscious decision, to be honest about that. And I noticed that when I would go on a diet and I was taking note of everything that I was eating, if I had a slice of cake or something, I wouldn't put that on the list. And so I wasn't really being accountable. I was saying, oh, well, I ate this and I ate that, and those were my veggies and those were my good things. But I'd lead off the bad things that I was eating, and that's counterproductive. So I had to say, okay, you can't do that. You got to be 100% in or 100% out. And so that's where I'm like, okay, I have to have accountability, whether I've done it or not.
Yes, well done. Write down the cake.
That's right.
Or don't eat the cake, right? One of the others. Next time you might not eat the cake if you write it down. So
exactly.
Yeah, be accountable. I love it. So who is next? Shantae, I don't think is on the call. Is that right? Let me see. Shantae's not here today. So James, how are we doing?
Yeah, so this past week was kind of wild because Shane and I had a training all of Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and we basically didn't have our phones. But it's interesting since I put that out there, there were a bunch of agents there, and there's an agent that lives, I think in Utah County. She said she's gonna start coming to the Wednesday meetings. Like I don't even know if she knows we're with EXP. I have just told her simply about the energy that that Team Limitless has and what we do and things like that. And she's on another coaching thing that we do once a week. So just the energy that we've gotten since we've been with EXP and with Team Limitless, Shane and I are basically putting that out there. And so she's going to start coming. And then we've made connections with Brianna Greenwood. She's already part of the team, but she said she would like to come up too. And I think getting an agent who is kind of not necessarily active on either the calls or in person coming up, that'll be a benefit also. And then had an opportunity to come in contact with 2 others at the same training, and I didn't have any business things. I didn't have any business intentions when I was there. I just went there for me, which you're supposed to do, but came into contact with some like really two high producing agents that they're like, dude, we need to do a deal together. I'm like, yeah, we do. I said, you know what we need to do is we need to manifest selling that $42 million property in Springville. And they're like, let's do it. And I said, okay, we're going to do it. But I mean, they're just really good people. So I'm going to keep in contact with them and just let it be organic. I really like what Shantae says on there. So just really attracting from not a business perspective, but just a relationship and energy sort of thing that we can provide to others. And so that's kind of what I've done this last week, unintentionally, but I wrote it down and been thinking about it. And that's what's kind of happened so far.
You know, well said. I mean, exactly what Shantae said there is organic relationships, and it fits really well into your example of your open house and getting that new listing is because you had some organic relationships that you built, even if it was unintentional. And agent attraction and listing attraction, buyer attraction, it's all really the same. It starts with that organic relationship. And it's funny, I've heard so many times with agent attraction that, people join people, they don't really join brokerages. And I think a lot of people join people in EXP before they even really know everything about EXP and how much of a benefit it is and how it can change their lives. And either they find out later or they miss it, right? So it's kind of it's important for us to all remember that on both aspects of it. First of all, you are looking for that organic relationship to bring, to have people be attracted to us, so they're attracted to the brokerage. But once they're a part of the brokerage, make sure that they understand it's great to have that relationship and be attracted to people and join other people, but make sure that they actually know why we're all here too and what EXP offers that no other brokerage does, so they don't miss it for their own benefit of what's really possible with EXP. So yeah, well said. I love it. Shayna, guess we'll jump to you next as well.
I think Shayna left.
Oh, did she? Okay. Well,
Yeah.
then we'll chat with her next time about it. Jeff, 2 cards a day, pitch 59. And
You just popped into my mind, not mine.
Yeah, these are Ashley's notes, but yeah, I kind of set a goal to write handwritten cards again. I used to do it in the past and had great success with it, and then just kind of broke the habit. So reestablishing that habit's been kind of fun. Ashley's helping me, not just as an accountability partner, but she's actually setting the cards in front of me. So I can fill it out. It's all ready to go. The reason she's got pitch 59 on there is because I'm using that as a tool to reach out to people that are already in my life, that I can see would get some value out of it. The entrepreneurs, the business owners, those people that are in the business of wanting referrals anyway, right? And so I've made some really good connections with that. And then the reason she put you just popped into my mind is I'm trying to create that habit as well, meaning if somebody randomly pops into my mind, sometimes you've maybe had that happen as well, where it's like, oh, that's weird, I haven't thought about them for a long time, and you're thinking about somebody. I'm actually calling those people now and reaching out, and that's how I start my conversation, is just like, hey, I just wanted to reach out, you for whatever reason you popped into my mind, so I thought I'd just act on that and give you a call, see how you're doing, and had some really good conversations by reconnecting with people. And it's not like I'm just making somebody up either too. It's like, oh, who can I call? But literally, as just living life, there's connectors, right? You know, I might go look at a certain property, and that'll remind me of a client that I sold a property to, like that, or whatever that connection might be. It's like, just reach out and connect with them. It's amazing how good it makes them feel too. When you connect with them, and some of them I've left voicemails for, and they've texted me back and really enjoyed getting the voicemail, and then we need to reconnect and match up from there. But yeah, those are kind of just connectors. I guess we're all going back up to Sean Tate's thing, organic relationships. Things can happen organically, but you have to be purposeful about it as well, right? Purposeful about doing the things that we're thinking about, so that we can build those relationships, not just hoping that they happen on their own.
I love that connection with the Pitch 59 too, because we've talked about it before. It doesn't matter what business someone is in, like even our clients, SOY, other agents in EXP, outside of EXP, everyone can use that. So it's a really easy share to create those relationships by just sharing an awesome tool that will help everyone's business. And that's really what and that's what we want, is we want to keep it easy and simple, right? Where we can make those introductions and show value, and be on that attraction side as opposed to the recruiting side. So yeah, I love it. I think it's a great focus, Jeff, for you to do that. And we all need to do that. I think, pick our focus and what tool we want to use and how we want to do it. But that's awesome. So Ashley, you are last.
I think we should, the people who aren't on this list, we should get theirs as well, so I can add them for next week.
I think so too. Yes.
So I put, for mine, 5-second rule. I tend to overthink when I'm reaching out to agents, because I'll have this thought of like, oh, I should invite them to that training or that, and then I think, oh, I don't want to be annoying. I've invited them to so many different things. They haven't come, blah, blah, blah. I go in this whole story in my head. And so I'm utilizing the 5-second rule to just be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, do it. And that's one of my goals. And then I put bundle select reach outs. Jeff and I have a bundle select time slot that we're utilizing just to focus on those people that we have contacts for with bundle select. But one thing that I wanted to add, because I noticed I get comfortable reaching out to the same agents over and over. Probably why I think I'm doing. So one of my goals, I want to do at least 2 new agents per week, and just make sure that I'm making a new connection each week, instead of just taking my little group that I already have and just continuing to follow up with them.
I love that. That's fantastic. I like the 5-second rule too, and not overthinking it. If you're coming from a point of enhancing people's lives and giving them a gift, it makes it a lot easier to just reach out to somebody and say, hey, we have this class coming up. I thought of you. You're an awesome agent, and I just thought it would be great value to you if you wanted to check it out. Or Pitch 59 or whatever that we're doing. You come from a gift mindset and a giving mindset, and you completely detach yourself from the outcome of them being a part of EXP, or detaching yourself from the fact that revenue share is something that we can participate and earn if they do join. If you just kind of forget about that, it makes it a lot easier. Yeah, I love it. I had some goals on there as well. I wanted to reach out to 5 new people this week. I did reach out to 3, so I didn't hit my goal of 5. I think I mentioned we were out of town quite a bit this week as well, and quite busy with some real estate. So, but I have somebody that has committed to go to the overview next the first Wednesday of next month. So I'm excited about that, and then a couple others I'm just kind of dripping on that I've talked a little bit about. Don't have any appointments or commitments set up, but yeah, it's good to just have it out there in front of you, so that we're going to have the accountability and we have some goals in front of us. So also, anyone else that's on the call today that is not on this list, maybe wasn't on last week, does anyone else want to add some goals over the next week or two? And keep in mind, we have a short week, and Thanksgiving is gonna kind of take away about 4 days of what we're doing. But yeah,
I
we can
do.
make it a 2-week goal. Sweet.
I missed last week or whenever this was all put together. I think it was. So I'm not sure what kind of goals we're supposed to be putting down here. So I would like to put something down for me. Is that okay? Or not? Or how do I do this?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
share
do
your
I
goal,
just-
and Ashley will put it down for us.
Okay. Well, I'll try to make it really short. You all probably know that I went to Bill Pipes's event last month, Sales Power, there in Salt Lake City, in fact. And one of the things that that we have to do is Monday Mayhem is starting next Monday, and it's all day. It's like from 8 to 4. I may miss the meetings on Monday unless I make it up, come to your meeting and then come back into the Monday Mayhem. So I don't know how many, but it's all for prospecting, and I don't know how many I can do in an hour's worth of time or 45 minutes, but so I can't really put a number to that yet, but my goal is to complete the Monday Mayhem for 4 Mondays, and it takes you right after Thanksgiving. I thought it started today, and I thought it was that's why I'm able to be here today, but I thought it started today, but it's next Monday. So it's the 27th, the 27th, the 4th of December, December 11th, and December 18th. So I have like over 300 prospects or leads in my Making It Rain program that I just canceled, but I still have those leads, and they're still coming in and looking at properties. So I can't put a number to it, but my goal would be to show up and complete every Monday Mayhem for the next 4 weeks, and making prospecting calls, which is one of my hardest things to do. So I guess that would be my goal. Is that big enough or too big or not specific enough? I'm not sure.
I think it's fantastic. Maybe a suggestion is
I do have a time blocked in my calendar, all nice and color coded for the next 4 Mondays. So
I love it. Maybe take a look at the final goal and where you want to be after the 4 week is up, and kind of look at your schedule and divide it up so you know what you need to do each week as well, so you're not running down to the last week.
Right.
And cramming, and realize that this coming week is probably going to be have a little bit less time than the other weeks, and kind of plan those goals out and write them down accordingly. That's probably what I would recommend.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I don't know how many calls like you can make in an hour. I mean, I don't know if you can make 6 or 10 or 15. I don't know how many you can make in an hour's time, but at least to write down who I'm going to call the night before, because it starts at 8 o'clock, and it's also role playing from like 8 to 9 or from 8 to 8:30. And then from there on, it's every 50 minutes with a 10-minute break in between each hour. So, okay, that's a good suggestion. So, work on that. So Ashley, you can put down, complete Monday mayhem,
Perfect.
4 weeks Monday mayhem. And then I can probably update that. So Jeff, I might miss the next 4 Monday meetings. Or I can come to the meeting, but then I can work later on Monday after 4 to make up for the time that I'm in your meeting.
Well, you just set your intention to plug into Bill Pike's system, but I think you should focus on that. I think you'll get some great momentum from that, so.
Yeah, okay, all right.
That great goal.
That is a big task, so hopefully I can do it.
Yeah. Good for you.
So, okay.
Okay, I have a goal for the week. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah,
good
let's
morning.
hear it.
Good
Yeah.
morning, by the way.
Morning.
Okay, are we talking about agent attraction goals or real estate goals? You're gonna write down?
Agent attraction.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, here we go. So last week I called Pizza Hut about an event and how many people we could have in there, and the limit was 30. And it's going to cost me around $600. So this week my goal is to look forward and pick a date in the next couple months to hold my event and start working backwards to invite agents to a free dinner and overview.
That's awesome.
I love it. That's fantastic.
And then
Working back, good.
Say that again.
Just say working backwards. Yeah, put it out there and work backwards. Give yourself enough time, of course.
Yes. So I'm thinking probably mid-February. But and I'd like to, if it goes well, I'd like to do it every 3 or 4 months. My goal for the year is might be lofty, but 10 agents this year. So we'll see how that goes.
That's great. Yeah, those, just having those contacts and those invites as your goal is gonna create the success in bringing in those agents as well. So I think we talked about it last week. Is I like having my goals based on touches because that's what I can control. What I can't control is who says yes and who says no, and the percentage of those. All I can do is control how many people actually share events, tools, or overviews, or EXP, or anything like that. So just have that as your goal, and everything else to kind of fall into place. I love it.
Nice.
Awesome. Yeah, so Ashley will get that down and just kind of, and maybe next week just kind of go through and write down individual, like once you reverse engineer it, what you need to do each week to make sure you stay on target for that.
Perfect. Sounds good. Thank you.
I wanted to share before we wrapped up too. Shantae's not on the call, but she did reach out to me a few days ago. She has 3 tickets to Cabo for different agents outside of EXP, all committed to go to Cabo.
Wow, that's amazing.
I mean, that is rock star material right there.
That is
So
awesome.
yes.
Wow.
So she'll be there too. But yeah, 3
That's
agents coming.
incredible.
So that is awesome. You can't go to Cabo and not join EXP. I can tell you that right now.
Serious.
So that's good for her.
Well, that's worked really well for Stacy. It's worked well for both of them in bringing people to those those things, because they get to collaborate, see how great it is, how fun it is to be with other EXP agents, and all the collaboration that we have and the culture. And but anyway, I got to put some goals up there, Eric. So
yeah, sure.
All right. Well, I think for me is getting back into looking at the goals that I had set for myself prior. And I'm really great at getting ready to get ready. So I will put it out there that I will relook at what I have set and look at the people that I have talked to and come up with a system in which I can go back and start reaching out to those people again.
I love that. I love that. And I know you, Lynn, we've talked about it before that, you know, the transactions and the agents that we work with, that we really enjoyed working with, we don't want to, you know, attract or recruit. This is just you and I, not like a rule or anything, that we don't want to do that until the transaction is complete. But once the transaction's complete, now you're working with different agents. So how do you get to that point where you say, okay, this transaction's done. I have 5 days or something, like it's a ticking time bomb. I have 5 days to reach out to that agent I just had a transaction close with that I really liked, and I need to have a talking point or invite him to something. I think that would be, for both you and I and all of us, a really good goal with agents that we're closing transactions with, something like that.
I agree with that completely, because I remember in the past that was exactly what I would do if I really liked someone, was to actually have that discussion. And like you said, it needs to be within a certain period of time and holding ourselves accountable to that.
Yeah, I think within a week would be really good. Just because they remember you very well. They remember the transaction really well. It just makes it a lot easier. And they're going to take your call too, because you just had a transaction. They're probably going to think, what is this about? You know?
Right.
So they're gonna answer your call and talk to you. I think it's a really good opportunity to you know, give them some props for a good transaction and being a great agent on the other side, how much you appreciated it. And that's why I'm giving you a call, and why I've, you know, and actually mentioning, I don't do this with every agent I work with, but I really like working with you. So I'd like to share something with you, whether it's an invite or, you know, like I said, tool overview, whatever that is. You know, give them some accolades and props that make sense, that you are, you know, setting aside some time to give them something of value. I think it'd be awesome.
Well, and
Maybe
I
like
don't
a
know
one.
about-
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say, I don't know about you, but while I'm in a transaction, some of the agents talk to me a lot. And so picking up on their cues on what they're frustrated with, or how they're feeling, or what they like, what they don't like, and just making notes. Like I have a book that has notes about all kinds of different agents that I've talked to, and going back and hitting some of those pain points that they already told you they had.
Well, and I like the idea of moving forward and having a system, but I also like the idea of going into the MLS and pulling up your past transactions of the people that you've worked with, and maybe reviewing those people to see if maybe you want to reach back out to them. I know at one point I compiled a list for Jeff and Lynn of all the agents that they've worked with in the past, which goes back how many years? A lot of years.
So 9 for me, 14
Yeah.
for Mom.
From 2009. But I think that could be beneficial to just go back and like review that and say, I know we did a transaction X many of years ago, but
Lynn, I got a suggestion too, along these lines, as far as reaching out, having a system, like Ashley was just mentioning, at the end of a transaction, if you particularly like that client, write them a handwritten note, send them a card, a thank you card for being professional and making that transaction a good experience for everybody. And then the other idea, just from what Ashley was saying, is going back to ones you hadn't done. If you've seen our stack of cards that we've got some that say congratulations, some that say thinking of you, and some that say thank you. So you could send a thinking of you card to somebody that you did a transaction with last summer and say, hey, I just had a transaction that made me think of you. Hope you're doing well, blah, blah, blah. That might be a good starter to then workflow out from there. Once you send that card, you're reinitiating. That's what I'm doing, like with Pitch 59, right? Once I send that out and I create some engagement with the card or with Pitch 59, what am I going to do next? So then you can stack your follow-ups based on, you know, starting.
Fantastic. I love it all. I think that's, it's really great. You know, for those agents that, you know, send out a thank you card or a thinking of you card, it's so rare that, it really sticks in your mind, right? Because very few agents do it. So if we're the ones doing that, they'll remember you.
Love it.
Thanks everyone for jumping on and, participating. That's fantastic.
Yeah, we can end with another quote. We love quotes. It is not what we do, but also what we do not do for which we are accountable. So let's all be accountable to each other and go crush the week.
Awesome. Great call, guys.
Awesome.
Thanks
you
for
so
all your
much.
contributions. Thanks, James, for your thoughts.
Thanks, you guys. Great training.
That's fun. Thank you.
Thanks everyone. Have a great Thanksgiving holiday as well.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Bye,
Have a
guys.
great week, you guys.
I know, I don't know.